For among the many excellent and indeed divine institutions which your Athens has brought forth and contributed to human life, none, in my opinion, is better than those mysteries. For by their means we have been brought out of our barbarous and savage mode of life and educated and refined to a state of civilization, and as the rites are called initiations, so in very truth we have learned from them the beginnings of life, and have gained the power not only to live happily, but also to die with a better hope. Cicero, Laws 2, 14, 36. These were the words spoken about the Eleusinian Mysteries, which were annual initiation ceremonies dedicated to Demeter and Persephone at the sanctuary of Eleusis. While there were other mysteries, such as the Dionysian Mysteries and Mysteries of Adonis, arguably none were as famous as the Eleusinian Mysteries. People seemed to emerge transformed after participating in these rites, but what exactly occurred during the Eleusinian Mysteries to bring about such profound changes? The original founder of the Greek mysteries was Orpheus, believed to be an incarnation of the great world teacher who had previously appeared as Thoth or Hermes in Egypt around 40,000 BC. About 7000 BC, Orpheus emerged as a wandering singer, drawing disciples to him, primarily residing in the forests. His unique teaching style involved conveying wisdom through song and music, carrying a 5-stringed musical instrument that may have inspired Apollo's lyre. Utilizing a pentatonic scale, his melodious compositions purified and expanded the astral and mental bodies of his disciples, liberating their subtle bodies from the physical realm and setting them free in the higher planes. Orpheus used specific melodies corresponding to each etheric center, awakening and energizing them, while presenting vivid images through his music, a technique later incorporated into the Greek mysteries. At the heart of Orpheus' teachings was the belief that sound permeated everything, and by harmonizing oneself, an individual could become a vessel for divine harmony to manifest, bringing joy to all of nature. The tradition of the Orphic mysteries endured for thousands of years and found expression in two significant manifestations during classical times. One was the Orphic schools, with Pythagoras' school being a remarkable offshoot. The Pythagorean mystery school will be discussed in a future video. The other was the renowned Greek mysteries of Eleusis, which preserved much of the ancient teachings in ceremonial form. The site's ritual dancing space was established around 1500 BCE, and a stone temple was built a century later. During the 800 BCE, the temple was rebuilt and expanded, eventually becoming the Grand Telesterion where the mysteries were held. An intriguing remnant of the Orphic tradition was observed in the Eleusinian Mysteries, where the Hierophant, the chief priest responsible for the initiation ceremony, always came from the sacred family of the Eumolpidi. This family claimed descent from the legendary Eumolpus, whose name meant the sweet singer. Hence, an essential qualification for the Hierophant's role was possessing a beautiful and resonant voice to properly intone the sacred chants. The Eleusinian Mysteries are associated with a myth involving Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and fertility, who was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea and the sister of Zeus. The myth narrates how Hades, the god of the underworld, abducted Demeter's daughter with Zeus, Persephone, also known as Kore, maiden, while she was gathering flowers on the earth. Distraught over her daughter's disappearance, Demeter caused a devastating drought to persuade Zeus to intervene. Zeus eventually relented and allowed Persephone to return to her mother. During her search for Persephone, Demeter had various adventures, including teaching the secrets of agriculture to Triptolemus. When Persephone was finally returned, it was revealed that she had eaten a pomegranate seed, binding her to the underworld for a portion of the year. She spent 1/3 of the year with Hades as the queen of the dead and the remaining 2/3 with her mother. Consequently, Demeter mourned her daughter's absence during this time, neglecting the earth, but rejoiced upon Persephone's return, bringing spring and prosperity. To be initiated into the mysteries, candidates just had to be adults, not have committed murder, and be able to understand Greek. Even slaves could participate. The Eleusinian Mysteries were divided into two main categories, the Lesser Mysteries and the Greater Mysteries. The Lesser Mysteries took place at the Temple of Demeter and Kore in Agri, near Athens, during February or March. In this degree, initiates received teachings about the afterlife in the astral world, similar to the Lesser Mysteries of Egypt. The ceremony was led by the Hierophant of Eleusis, supported by various officers. It commenced with a preliminary purification or baptism in the waters of the Eleusis. The subsequent rituals featured depictions of the astral world and instructions about the consequences of specific actions in the afterlife. In the past, the Hierophant possessed the power to materialize examples of karmic outcomes or project ghostly images for instruction. However, over time as the abilities were lost, actors and artifices replaced these manifestations. Initiates were also provided with cosmogony instruction and explanations about human evolution on Earth. The mysteries incorporated myths from the exoteric religion, and their meanings were explored. For instance, the tale of Tantalus, forever thirsty but unable to drink or reach fruits above him, symbolized unquenched desires after death. The story of Sisyphus rolling a heavy stone uphill, only to see it fall back repeatedly, represented unfulfilled ambitions and futile efforts. The story of Tityus being tormented by vultures depicted the burning desire that ultimately leads to purification. Within the lesser mysteries, an inner school existed for specially selected candidates. These individuals were trained to awaken their astral senses, enabling them to verify the teachings firsthand. Severe tests of courage were applied to those candidates who sought positive occult training and aspired to work on the astral and higher planes. However, most initiates, tens of thousands in number, did not participate in these advanced training aspects. The initiate wore the dappled fawn skin, nebris, as their attire, symbolizing the uncontrolled astral body that needed to be trained and disciplined through willpower. This attire was similar to the leopard skin worn by Egyptian priests and the tiger or antelope skin worn by Eastern yogis. Following the lesser mysteries, the initiates had to wait about 1.5 years until the next September or October, during the month of Bodromion, to participate in the greater mysteries at Eleusis, which lasted approximately 10 days. On the 13th of Bodromion, young men assembled at Eleusis to accompany a solemn procession to Athens, approximately 12 miles away. On the 14th, the halos, sacred objects, were reverently escorted to Athens, guarded by the Hierophant and the Eleusinian temple retinue. The halos were transported in large wicker baskets secured with purple wool, and only initiates were permitted to handle or even see them under the penalty of death. The rest of the year, the halos remained in a shrine within the Eleusinian temple, guarded with utmost care and reverence. Upon reaching Athens' outskirts, the halos were met by magistrates and people, leading to a grand procession to the Eleusinian at the foot of the Acropolis. Similar to the mother temple at Eleusis, this location was enclosed and restricted to initiates only. On the 15th, the day of the full moon, candidates chosen for the greater mysteries gathered for the solemn proclamation. On the 16th morning, the pig sacrifice occurred. Each initiate carried a sacrificial pig to the sea, where both the animal and the initiate were washed. Subsequently, the pig was sacrificed, and its body buried in a deep pit, symbolizing a symbolic death for each initiate. The death and burial of the pig compelled the initiate to strip away their old, material view of existence and live with the resulting emptiness until it was eventually filled with a new spiritual realization. A special celebration for Asclepios, the god of healing, took place, as he was believed to hold control over life and death. From then on to the 18th, public processions occurred in Athens, while initiates remained secluded within the temple, receiving instruction and meditating in preparation for the greater mysteries initiation. In the greater mysteries, initiates received teachings about the heaven world. Initiates wore a ceremonial garment of a golden fleece, symbolizing the mental body's power and ability to function in it. There were two types of initiates in this class: those trained to use the mental body and form the temporary astral vehicle known as the Mayavi Rupa, and the majority who were not yet prepared for such advanced development but still received instruction about the mental plane and its faculties. Initiates gained insights into how causes from their actions in the physical world unfolded in the heaven world. They learned about the control of the mind, just as they had previously learned to control desires and emotions in the lesser mysteries. Further instruction on cosmogenesis and anthropogenesis continued, including an explanation of the entire cosmic scheme and its relation to the solar system. To convey these teachings, initiates were presented with visionary representations of cosmic processes and their terrestrial analogies. Similar to the lesser mysteries, at first, occult methods were used for such presentations, but as they declined, mechanical and pictorial means replaced them. On the 19th, a grand procession of initiates, accompanied by the halos, returned to Eleusis, celebrating triumphantly. They would enter the telesterion. Before the initiates could enter the telesterion, they had to recite a declaration affirming their preparation, including how they have fasted, followed by drinking a special beverage known as the kykeon. The kykeon, made of barley and pennyroyal, has led to speculation about possible psychotropic effects from ergot, a fungus found on barley containing psychedelic alkaloids similar to LSD. The rituals conducted inside the telesterion are believed to have consisted of three elements: dramana, things done, which involved a dramatic reenactment of the Demeter/Persephone myth; deichnomena, things shown, where sacred objects were displayed, with a significant role played by the Hierophant; and legomena, things said, which included commentaries accompanying the deichnomena. These three elements, collectively known as the aperita, unrepeatables, were strictly forbidden to be revealed, and the penalty for doing so was death. Regarding the dramana, things done, and legomena, things said, the reenactment of the legend of Persephone represented the soul's descent into matter. Just as Persephone was attracted to her own reflection in the lower conditions of matter, the soul was drawn to identify with its lower personality, sinking into matter. However, the divine seed remained within, and the soul would eventually return to the divine. As for the deichnomena, things shown, the halos, sacred objects, in the mysteries were physical objects highly magnetized, used for performing magical aspects of the ceremonies. They were the personal possessions of the Eumolpidi priestly family, passed down through generations, and their use was integral to the Eleusinian ritual. One of these objects was the caduceus, a rod of power surrounded by twisting serpents and surmounted by a pine cone. The caduceus was used by the Hierophant to awaken the latent forces within the initiates and separate their astral body from the physical, facilitating an astral journey or out-of-body experience. The crater or cup, associated with Dionysus, represented the causal body of man, often depicted as a cup filled with the divine wine of life and love. The tradition of this cup influenced the legend of the Holy Grail in medieval romance and legend. Highly magnetized and jeweled statues, ancient lyres, and symbolic toys of Bacchus were also part of the sacred objects used in the mysteries. The dice were representations of the 5 Platonic solids, indicating different planes of the solar system. The mirrors symbolize the astral light in which archetypal ideas are reflected and materialized. The climax of the Greater Mysteries ceremony was the exposition of an ear of corn. During initiation, the initiates were shown this secret symbol in silence. The ear of corn symbolized the divine life of God, constantly changing, renewing, and perpetually moving from one manifestation to another. Following this phase of the mysteries, there was an all-night feast called Panikos, accompanied by dancing and festivities, which was open to the public. The dances were held in the Rarian field, believed to be the place where grain was first grown. On the 22nd of Bodromion, the initiates paid tribute to the deceased by pouring libations from special vessels. Finally, on the 23rd of Bodromion, the mysteries concluded, and all participants returned home. The 2 well-known divisions of the Lesser and Greater Mysteries were only part of the story. Beyond and above these, there existed the Greater Mystery of the Path of Holiness, comprising the 5 great initiations. The secrecy surrounding this knowledge was necessary due to the conditions of the time. For instance, even the Roman emperors were aware of the Lesser and Greater Mysteries and sought initiation into them. However, many of these emperors lacked the moral character to be worthy participants in a religious organization. Yet, it was difficult for the Hierophants of the mysteries to deny entry to an emperor of Rome, considering the power and might they wielded. Consequently, the existence of the true mysteries was not public knowledge, and candidates were only made aware of them when they were deemed deserving by the discerning authorities. In 386 CE, the invading Visigoths, who had converted to Christianity, devastated most surviving pagan sanctuaries, including the temple at Eleusis, leading to the disappearance of the mysteries forever. The ultimate purpose of the mysteries is guiding individuals back to their divine origins and attaining profound spiritual enlightenment facilitated by the ingestion of a potent psychoactive substance. Various substances have been proposed as potential ingredients of kykeon. As mentioned earlier, ergot is a species, Claviceps paspali, that contains alkaloids similar to LSD. Other candidates include psychoactive mushrooms such as psilocybe, an opioid derived from the poppy, associated with the goddess Demeter, and DMT found in certain Mediterranean plants. Personally, I believe the kykeon to be DMT-based, similar to ayahuasca, as the rest of the psychoactive ingredients are unlikely to create the effects seen in the participants, a form of rebirth and the loss of fear of death, symbolically represented by the emergence of Persephone from the underworld.